Hello everyone and welcome back to UE5 BP Guru. We're continuing on with the Ringmon reboot. For the members first, so thanks so much to all the members who are watching this as it came out, and of course, if you'll watch this down the line, thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. If you are already, thank you so much. All the support Maz, and yeah, let's get on with it. I don't want to waste too much time. We've got 20 minutes on the clock, and we want to get stuck in. So the first thing I've opened, we did the move strut last time. We're going to try and finish off these last struts. We're going to go into Pokemon base stats. We're going to go to structure, and we need a few of these. We're going to need to add a bunch. And these are going to be the variables that we set up in the last episode for the move strut. We're going to be setting these up for here as well now. So of course, name sensitive matters. So just watch your spelling as always. I'll try and remember how to spell evasiveness. SP attack, and we want SP defense, and we want speed. We still need accuracy, evasiveness, and we'll need 2 more as well. Okay, speed. Accuracy is one I made earlier, evasiveness. And then we need also level up move set, and we also need to know our TM moves. So these are all going to be floats, so change all of these to floats. If I was clever, I'd have changed the first one to a float so that every new one I made would also have been a float, but you know, that's just me. I like to do things difficult. And we want to do a name variable, and we're going to do another one with a map. And this one is going to be of type integer. That's going to be the level we learn this move. And then we need to make another name variable, but this one's going to be an array so that we can add as many of the TM moves as we want to this array. And we will, when we use a TM, it will be able to find them on that TM moves list. That's the idea behind that. So save that. We don't need to do anything with the defaults because we'll do all that in its own sort of area. The base stats, by the way, those are what the Pokemon is always going to have depending on its level. It will always have those stats to start off with, and then the EVs and the IVs change it to make them bigger or smaller and whatever. So, yeah, so that's that one. Don't forget to save because I just had a crash and I lost a bunch of work, so was not impressed. We're going to do the basic information. This is probably the biggest one that we will have to set up. And we're going to start by just adding an absolute ton of these things because we're going to need loads. So we have index number. We have Ringmon NS class. Now this will make sense. This is a big change from the original code as well. We have Ringmon S class. Those are the 2 classes depending on whether it's non-shiny or shiny, just so you know. We have integer, we haven't set this up yet, so we can't set those up yet, so they'll stay as booleans. But once we get going, we will have that in there. We got the Ringmon name. That's going to be type name. But we're also going to have an extra little something down the line. You'll see that as well. We got Ringmon species, which is going to be just a string. You can also make it a name variable, to be fair, but I made it a string. You know, preference is on that one for sure. We got type 1, and we've got type 2. Those will be of our E Pokemon type, and the same for this one. So that's where you get your dual typing from. So if you had like a water ground, you'd have type 1 and type 2. We've got the I'm using Ringmon again. Pokemon description. Someone needs to strap me around the wrists for that. Let's just amend this now. I didn't make too many mistakes this time. Last time I had to cut to like the fact that I changed so much. Poke and oh, come on, poke. So that's the description. We've got the Pokemon weight. I could just put weight to be fair, or height, but I like adding in the fact that it's Pokemon. Pokemon height. I'm sure if I say Pokemon enough times, I'll get a get a sponsorship or something. Non-shiny image. We got the Pokemon shiny image. We need to add in the evolution information. So I'll just put evo info. Base experience. We got catch rate. Let's add a couple more in. Catch rate. We got the non-shiny skeletal mesh, and we also have the shiny skeletal mesh. Not that those I don't think are needed too much, to be perfectly honest. I don't think we'll be using them as much as I thought we would. We need the ANMBP so that we can access that, and we also want the base stat information. Like so, you can get rid of that one. So the description will be also string. The weight and the height will also be strings. The image will just be a texture. You scroll down far enough, you'll find texture and just getting object reference. That's going to be the same for this one. Scroll down and get the object reference for that one as well. We have evolution info. Now that is going to be F ring F Pokemon evolution, and we're going to turn that into an array. The reason we're going to turn it into an array is because we might want to add multiple ways of evolution. So, for example, you might want one that's a boy, one that's a girl, one that's in a certain location, one that's Eevee takes 7 evolution rings. You know, we make it an array so that we can add as many types as we can to that figure. We need a float for the base experience. We need to get an integer for the catch rate. We need 2 skeletal meshes. If we go down here to skeletal mesh, just get another object reference, skeletal mesh as well there. And then the ANMBP is going to be of type object, which is here. And we want the class reference. And that should be your information setup. The last 3 here, they are for following purposes, but I think I found a better way, so we may not use those 3. But yeah, and then the final one, sorry, is F Pokemon base stats. We store that in our creature as well. So save. And we can close most of this down now. We can close that one down. I'm going to save again just to be safe. Okay. Next one we're moving on to is the Ringmon EVs. Now the EVs and the IVs theoretically should be the same, but you can basically work through and add all of the normal ones we would have. So defense, attack, SP, attack, SP defense. And the only other one we need to change is speed. We don't need to do accuracy and we don't need to do evasiveness. Those are 2 of the stats that you don't actually change via items or can, you know, things like that. They will always be 1-1, both of those. So you can save that one and go down and open up the, we're going to do evolution next. I'm just doing them in order. So if you're like, oh, why didn't you go to IVs next? It's because it's not in the order in which we're setting these up. So we need to do the evolution type. We need to do evolution name. Oh, name. We need to do, oh my god, evolution level. Happiness needed. So again, if you needed it to be like, you know, 200 happiness, you can do that as well. Evolution stone. Mine's essence, so I'm trying to keep it Pokemon. Evolution held item, because we know that some Pokemon, like for example Electabuzz and Magnemar, they need to have a held item. evolution gender. So whether it's a boy or a girl, we need to know a location. So if it's got to be sort of route 2, then we know it can evolve in route 2. Day evolution, and is it a night evolution? Now, those two are basically dependent on your time. So we might not be able to cover those depending, but I will try. Evolution type. Oh, why does it come up like that? Oh. There we go. That's better. Don't know why I did that. This can be just name. This one can be, the next two can be integers. The next one is going to be, you can do type name for that. Yeah, we can do type name because we'll just check the name against the name. Held item needs to be the e held item list. Why does it keep doing that? E held. There we go. Gender can be the e gender. Why is it doing that? Very strange. Okay. Location can just be a name, and the two last ones can be booleans. So that's our evolution setup. Hopefully I'm not going too fast. Hopefully you'll be able to pause the video and just kind of get the same information that I've got down. But if you're getting struggled, if you struggle, if you're a member now, you can come and talk to me in the member section. Just ask me in the Discord to unlock it for you if you've paid, and you can ask me as many questions as you like. F Ringmon final stats is okay. We need, this one's quite important, but it's a very big one, so just bear with me. We're going to set this immediately to a float because they're all going to be floats, and the first one's going to be HP. We need a lot of them because we need to do the max as well. HP max. We need attack, and then we need attack max. You get the idea. The reason we have a max for the final stats is because at the end of every battle, you need to return them. In Pokemon, you need to return them to their original amount. So, for example, defense, they will have to go back to their originals. That's something we will be doing in this series, which I didn't do in Ringmons because I didn't want to have it return to its max. But in Pokemon, it does. So you need to, we need to do that for this one. SP defense max. I wonder if I've clicked the right amount. That'd be crazy. Especially as well for your accuracy and your evasiveness. You will need those as well to go to their max. Otherwise, you're going to have some weird issues where your Pokemon just aren't hitting anything. Accuracy. Oh, accuracy. No, accuracy. Accuracy max. I went too far, but that's fine. Evasiveness. I'm just going to copy and paste this one for the max. I'm not going to lie. Max. Okay, and then we can delete these last three. We don't need them. So, yeah, so that's kind of the idea of having the max, is that whatever this is at the end, you can just set this back as your HP. Set this. Well, you don't want to set your HP. Don't do your HP, but you do your attack, your defense, the other ones. You do all the other ones. We probably don't even need the HP max, but I'm going to put it in there anyway. Screw it. So that's fine. And then we're moving on now. We're going to do our IVs. And to be honest, I'm going to cheat our IVs. I'm going to delete this IV out, just like so. And I'm just going to duplicate this one, the EVs, and I'm just going to change the final name back to IV. IV's done. If we open it, we can double check it. It's got them all in there. Jobs are good. We've done it. Mazel tov. Then we can do our party information. So again, this is another big one, because the reason we're doing that separate to our basic information is because we only want to know certain things about our party information. So as an example, there's a few things I've changed again. So this will be new to some people. Whereas we have our Ringmon name, which is going to be, or should I say our Pokemon name. So for example, Bulbasaur, that would be its name. It's given, its Pokedex name. But we want to give it, I'm keep putting Pokemon, Ringmon. We want to give it a given name. That is the name that we give it. So if I want to call it Smelly Butt, that's its given name, but its actual name is Bulbasaur. So that's why we have 2 of those. We then have its active status. The reason we have an active status is so that we know whether it's got a condition on it. So, for example, if it's burnt, we need to know that it's burnt, so that we can do different things like damage, etc. We want to know if it's holding an item. Held item. So we have an item list of usable held items, but we also have, we use the same thing to determine whether it's actually holding one of those. That's why we put none in there. We got its move slots, which are going to be its name and an array. We got its move slots. And with the new Pokemon games, they have, I should say learned moves. Learned moves. I called it learnable moves in my other one. So in the new Pokemons, when you learn a new move, you can swap in and out moves depending on the situation you're going to be facing. So for example, if you had a water Pokemon, it might know some electric moves, or it might know some fire moves, or it might know some grass moves that you don't typically always give them, but they've learnt them. So in the new ones, if you're facing a grass gym, you might want that water Pokemon to know some fire moves, so it has a bit of an advantage when it's attacking. Yeah, terrible example, but if you've played Scarlet and Violet, you know what I mean, where you can swap in and out the moves. It's already learned. So that's why we have the learned moves. They have been learned, but they're not in the move slot. So you won't be able to access those when in the middle of a fight, but when you come out of that fight, you'll be able to grab them in and out and swap them around. We then need to know what its current XP is. So that's going to be a float, and we also need to know what the max XP is going to be. That's also going to be a float. And then we need to know what its current level is. And that's going to be just a bog standard integer. We need to know if it is shiny. That is going to be just a Boolean check. The next option for mine, you're not going to need, so I'm not going to leave that in. Gender is going to be its gender. Now, the reason we put none in there is because legendaries don't tend to have a gender, but obviously the normal Pokemon you're going to be catching should store a gender, boy or girl. So that's why we got that. We need to know what its happiness is, its current happiness. That is going to also be an integer. We then need to know its normal stats, basically. So we'll just create 5 of these. We're going to call this one Poke Base Stats. We'll call the next one Poke IVs. We need to know its IVs. Everyone has their individual IVs. Poke EVs. They all have EVs. And we need to know its final stats. And that should be everything we need to know about these individual Pokemon. So Poke Base. Oh. Now the reason we store our base stats, I did mention earlier that we don't need to store the base stats because they're the same for every single one of them. But if you do remember, there are some items that will increase and change your base stats. They'll increase your base stats by 1. So your Pokemon is given its base stats when you catch it, and they store it so that you can amend them down the line. Because if you increase your base stats, all the other multiplications like the IVs and the EVs will change them quite dramatically if you just by adding 1. So it's very important that we store our base stats on our creatures so that we can amend them down the line. So that's why we've done that, if anyone was wondering. And that should be the information that is stored on your creature that you capture. That's all you store. The rest is all stored in a database that we'll grab when we need it. The reason I've done this is to reduce the amount we're storing on our creatures so that it doesn't affect our Ringmon storage or our Pokemon storage when we come to that point. And the final one we're going to be setting up today in this episode is going to be our type multiplier. So if we open this up, there's only one option we need to do, and that is we're just going to call it multiplier. and we're going to set this to our poke. Damage. Did I call it damage type? I think I just set it to the Pokemon type. It's going to be a map, and it's going to be a float, and we're going to save that, and we're going to close that down. And that is all of our structs for our creatures created now as well. So in the next episode, we're going to finish off by doing the data tables. We're then going to try and set up all our player stuff. So the creature, we're going to set up the master creature. We're also going to set up the trainer information and the trainer, all the trainer structs and stuff. So we're nearly at the point at the end of doing all the information setup, but this is all the information we realistically should need throughout the whole of the rest of the series of the code and things like that. So hopefully you found this useful. Hopefully some of it's starting to make sense on how where I'm going with certain things. I will explain everything, each of these sort of individual things, hopefully in a little bit more detail as we actually get into the code and when we actually start to use it. But yeah, thank you so much, guys, for watching. Again, thank you to all the new members, and thank you to all of the people who subscribed to the channel. If you're watching this at a later date, I really do appreciate all the support, and hopefully you're finding this all incredibly useful. But thank you so much, guys. Much love. Take care. See you next time. Bye.